Hello and welcome to another episode of Music Theory 101. Today we are continuing our talk about time signatures. Now some of this stuff may get a bit complicated, but just grab a cup of your favorite beverage and let's dive right into it. So today we are looking into the different groups of time signatures, of which there are 7. Simple, compound, complex, mixed, additive, fractional, and irrational. But seeing as you will most likely only encounter the first 3, let's just look into those today. Now, the simple time signature is the most common type of time signature. These are things like 3/4, 4/4, also called common time, and 2/2, also called cut time or alla breve. Now, I left you on a bit of a cliffhanger last time, didn't I? What is the difference between 4/4 and 2/2? I mean, they both add up to the same total length, so what is the difference? In simple time signatures, every odd beat has more stress than the even beats, meaning the first and third beat, for an example, would have more stress than the second and fourth. So if we compare the two time signatures and color code our stresses, with red being the most stressed and green being the least stressed, the two time signatures would look like this. For a more audio example, we can once again consult Mary Had a Little Lamb. Firstly, try listening to it with a 4/4 drum beat. Now try listening to it with a 2/2 drum beat. Notice how the tempo of the melody is the exact same, but the stresses and thereby the feeling of the song changes. In order to understand compound time signatures, we actually have to talk more about simple time signatures. All the subdivisions of a simple time signature is split in 2. Now you might be thinking something along the lines of, what? But it really just means that if, for example, your beat unit is a quarter, you split it in 2 and you get 2/8. Boom, division by 2. But with compound time signatures, your subdivisions are split into 3. We write that in notes using a dot. So if a quarter note has a dot, it means it consists of 3/8 instead of 2. Or if a half note has a dot, it consists of 3/4 instead of 2. However, because it evidently would be too difficult to just figure out a simple way to write it, complex time signatures write the subdivisions of the beat unit as the beat unit instead of the beat unit. If that sounds confusing as bloody hell, it's because it sort of is, but I haven't managed to overthrow hundreds of years of music theory tradition yet. However, here's the trick. I find that in 9 out of 10 times it's a compound time signature if the written beat unit is in eighths. Meaning, to find the actual number of beats, you have to divide the written amount of beats with 3. So if you have 9/8, you divide 9 with 3 and you get 3. So there's actually 3 beats per measure. And these 3 are then the beats where the odd numbers are more stressed. And remember, if you're still in doubt, just count. Just remember that the subdivisions of simple time signatures are divided in 2 and complex are divided in 3. So if you counted simple time, it would sound like this. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Where if you counted compound, it would sound like this. 1 and then 2 and then 3 and then 4 and then 1 and then 2 and then 3 and then 4 and then... Now lastly we have complex time signatures. And complex time signatures is basically the equivalent to the relationship status. It's complicated. In other words, they are whatever time signatures that don't fit with the rules of simple or compound, yet not specific enough to merit one of the other categories. But here's the thing, the most common of these, like 5/4 or 7/8, are often a mix of simple and compound. 5/4, for example, sounds like a 6/8 and a 2/4, which may sound confusing, but I just tell students to remember this melody. Anyway, when reading and especially when writing a complex time signature, it is better to study that specific time signature rather than an overlay of rules. This was a bit of a long one, but I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any questions, leave them in comment. I will check them out. My name has been Alexander Clark, and I'll see you next week.